Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, my bad. I was still turning up from the intro music. Yo, what's poppin', everyone? Welcome to another edition of HBCU Pulse Radio. We got the In the Spotlight series today. I'm of course your host, MC, checking in from Bowie State University. This right here is your go-to for everything HBCU. Now, of course, again, we got the In the Spotlight series, and we are highlighting one of the most greatest HBCUs that there is all out in the land, the one and only Grambling University. And listen, if you don't know, this is all about the HBCU experience, the Grambling University second edition. And of course, we had to get some Grambling alum and professionals here with us. And so I'm about to bring you talking Grambling, who better to get? You know, who better to get? I'm about to bring the one, the only Miss Iyesha Franklin to the stage. Miss Iyesha, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I cannot complain at all. How is your day going today?
It's been a great day thus far. What about for you?
I know nobody ever asked to host that. I'm so
See,
glad you asked you.
That's
I
me.
appreciate you.
That's how us Gremlinites do it.
So once again, Miss Iyesha, this is the In the Spotlight series, and is highlighting the HBCU experience, the Grambling University editions, the second edition, and of course, you being alum, a professional. Just give us a little bit about who you are and your journey at Grambling University.
Okay. My name's Iyesha Franklin, and I am from Alexandria, Louisiana. I went to high school there, and then when I graduated, I was like, let's try a different thing, a different swing. So I followed in my parents' footsteps, and I went to Grambling State University. We are a loving rivalry family, if you call it that. Might as well. My brother attended Southern University, and so did my sister. But I followed behind our parents, and I attended Grambling State University, where everybody is somebody, because you got to add that part of it. That's what we say. But I went there for my undergraduate degree in criminal justice, graduated in 2012. Once I graduated, I did go back to Grambling State University to obtain my master's degree as well before moving to Baton Rouge and continuing my education. So I'm currently working on my doctorate degree from Walden University. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, it's a wrap. Everything is done. I'm at the end now, so that's wonderful. I am done. I just have to defend. But every dream came to life at Grambling State University.
Well, first we want to speak into existence. Soon to be doctor.
Oh yes,
okay. Soon to be doctor.
So we gotta give God credit. With him, it's a wrap.
Oh, Shabba. Don't let us start a praise break on here. So I want to ask you, Miss Franklin. I want to ask you, so what is it about Grambling State that to you just sets it apart from everyone? Like, what's the culture like at Grambling State when you were there?
The culture at Grambling State University was just amazing. And when I go back now, it still is. It's a different generation, but it's still the same. You see so much blackness, beautiful blackness, different shades, different tones, different hairstyles. Everyone's from different places, all vibing together, coming together to get, of course, our education and just learn and thrive together and become young adults together. You know, it's beautiful. It's a sight to see. From the moment that I stepped foot on the yard up until I left, it was amazing. It's home away from home, for sure.
Has there ever been, because I know you can probably ask any student at HBCU, there's always that one professor or one staff member that really just left an impact on you while you're at school. Did you have that for you? And if so, who was it?
Absolutely. It was so many of them. They all did. One stands out. Her name is May Conley, and she was amazing. She stepped in really like she was like the cool aunt, you know, that we all had. I can remember us finishing class and we would go sit in her office. Class is done. The day is a wrap. And we just want to hang out in her office and ask questions and learn. And that's pretty much how it was with all the professors that I had in the criminal justice department. We were a family there. And one thing that stands out with Grambling, for sure, it's definitely home. And when I say that, I mean, you're not a number, you matter. They know your name. They probably know your first name, middle name, and last name. So that's just, and it's a normal thing. You can go to the grocery store, you may run into a professor there, and they would be like, "Hi, Miss Franklin," or just whatever. So welcome and so loving. Not afraid to get on us if they needed to. Now,
Mhm.
one thing about it, they'll get you together, but it's always in love. It was always in love.
What would you say your post grad experience has been like? So leaving Grambling State, you have gained all the jewels and the knowledge from your professors, maybe from some other peers, and now you are ready to walk the stage and leave and go into the real world. What has that experience been like post grad?
That experience, for me thus far, has been beautiful. Um, I walked out of Grambling State University with my head held high. I
Mm-hmm.
knew who I was. I was proud of who I was. Um, just proud to be me. I always crack a joke with my friends. So when I got to Grambling State University, I of course had a perm. And it's nothing against perms. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But I was not embracing my natural hair. And when I left Grambling State, up until now, you see the curls popping.
Come on, girls.
Okay, they're there. I give that credit partly to Grambling because I was able to just be myself. Um, so many times, young women, young Black women, um, are afraid to step into that,
Mm-hmm.
afraid to step into the professional world with their natural coils and just embracing who they are. And when I left Grambling State University, I was ready to do just that. I wasn't afraid to step in any room with anyone. I walked in there with my head held high, had God with me always. And whatever the task was going to be or whatever came, I was always ready to address it professionally. And Grambling State University did help get me together for that. Absolutely.
That's good. And we know we hear a lot of times how HBCUs can't prepare us for the real world, but you are just a testament to that. No, the exact opposite. Grambling State has prepared me. It helped me get to become the person that you are today.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to ask you, right? So your freshman year to your senior year, right? What were some things that you learned along the way that helped make you who you are today, starting from freshman year all the way up until senior year? So even now, some things you learned along the way.
Okay. So freshman year, I learned don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step outside of the box. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Don't be afraid to learn. Basically step out of your box, get to know people, and just join different organizations. So that's what my freshman year was about. I joined Black Dynasty Modeling Troupe. I sung in Entourage Performing Arts Gospel Choir. I stepped out into student council. All of those things. That's all I was doing freshman year. I was getting out and learning people,
Mm-hmm.
becoming familiar with the law of the land, learning it. Sophomore year was really about structure because now I've learned everything. Okay, now I have to take it and I need to put it into perspective to see what's next.
Right.
Do I really want to do or stay in criminal justice? Is this really the path I'm taking? Am I okay with that? Because freshman year, that's when you take most of your core classes. I mean,
Yeah.
you just the basics. So when I jumped into my sophomore year, I began to take those criminal justice courses and just really get familiar with it, make sure that I was on the path that I did want to be on. Um, junior year, junior year was about, continuing. I know what I want to do now. Let's lock it in. Let's make sure, I'm meeting people. I'm setting myself up because residency is coming up next year, just getting familiar with everything. Um, and when senior year came, I was really focused on making sure I completed everything that I needed to complete to graduate and also having everything together to enter into the master's program. So I was really like making sure I was, felt like I was doing this, like making sure everything's together with school
Right.
and also making sure I was getting everything together to re-enter school. Um, Also, senior year was about transformation from living on campus to moving off campus for
Mhm.
grad school, and just locking in on that, making sure I have everything together, all the tools that I need to move off campus, because living on campus is one story, but living
Right.
off is another. And so I
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that transition was smooth, and it was. It was a really smooth transition. And for now, um, I feel like I have it all from Grambling. Like, trials and tribulations still come for us, as young adults, they do come. But I'm prepared to take on everything with God, of course. I think I think the volume went out.
Can you hear me? We good?
I can hear you now. We're good now. I couldn't at first though.
The devil don't want Grambling State to be great and trying to stop us, but it's okay.
He can get out the way. He has.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
gotta go.
Um. So I wanna ask you, right? Of course, as much as we love our HBCUs, nobody's perfect. Is there one thing that you could say you hope to see, or maybe over from the time you left to now, you've seen it change? Something you may would change about Grambling State to improve it.
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I really can't think of anything.
That's how you know Grambling State is a good school.
You
Yeah.
know, you know,
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would want to change about Grambling State University. I do know, like I said, it's probably, I'm sure it's different now, but for the most part, when I went back for homecoming, it looked good to me, and
That's good.
I had a great time. So I don't think I have anything to change, but I do know that there's always room for improvement.
That's good. That's good. Talk to us about the book, right? The HBCU experience, Grambling State University edition, second edition. Talk to us about your part, your contribution to the book.
Yes, so I'm so excited. Some amazing, amazing authors in this book as well with me, alongside me, and I'm so excited about all of our stories. Everyone has a story to tell, and I'm really, really excited that we are able to bring it to the forefront for the second time. My chapter basically focuses on going through the years at Grambling State University, the transition from high school to college, and then
Mm-hmm.
also from a predominantly white slash mixed school to a HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that transition and everything with that, and the flow of that, and what I learned along the way, and just giving back, so that kids know that if I can do it, you can do it too.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's a really big thing, especially now. To when you're going through something, you're not just going through it for yourself, but it's to be able to leave a story for others so that they can see it and they can apply it, and maybe they can learn from some mistakes you may have made along the way. Um, when you finish writing the story, when you finish editing and putting it into the book, tell me just what that experience like is writing. Being an author, what does that feel like to take your memories, take your story, and just put pen to paper? What's that like?
It is amazing. In the course of you writing, you're everything's replaying in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
From, you really can see it happening again. It's like it's coming to life on paper, but you're envisioning it as you're writing. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful process. And you're viewing yourself in a light where it's really like a well, I'm not gonna say 360, 180.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're looking back at where you came from, and if there was ever a time where you felt maybe small, when you're in high school, you're going to college, everything looks so big and you feel so small, especially your freshman year. You're just like, everything's new. It's a new place,
Right.
and to write about it now, after you've gone through it, you lived it, You made it out, some went back again and again and again. It's a beautiful feeling. It is beautiful for sure.
Miss Franklin, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Before you go, two things. One, is there anything else you want to say about the book? And two, where can we find you on social media?
Absolutely. So my name is, of course, Iyesha Franklin. That's how you can find me on Facebook. I believe it's under Iyesha Shantae, though. But if you put Iyesha Franklin, it'll pop up. And as far as the book, it's an amazing book. Every story is different. Everyone is unique in their own way. And I just think that it's going to just light everyone up. It's going to get everyone fired and ready for their story, to tell their story, whatever it may be, however it may have happened. It's beautiful to put it to paper. And so I'm really excited for everyone to read my story as well as all of the other author stories. You don't want to miss out on this. You need to get this book in your life as soon as it comes out.
Everyone, much thank you to Miss Franklin. We appreciate you. And again, of course, Amazon is where you can find the book. So make sure you go and get it. HBCU Experience, Grambling State University edition, 2nd edition. Miss Franklin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, this is HBCU Pulse Radio in partnership with Clutch Points. And this, of course, is your go-to for everything HBCU. I'm, of course, your host, Project MC. And don't you go anywhere. We got another interview coming up right up. The one, the only, Dr. Rachel. So stay tuned, stay locked in. We'll be back after this. Yeah, 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 yeah. Live. Oh, my bad. I was still turning up. My bad, my bad. Listen, y'all. Welcome back to another edition of In the Spotlight, right here on HBCU Post Radio, your go-to for everything HBCU. I'm, of course, your host, MC, and today, listen, we already had, we had to start it off right. Miss Iyesha Franklin came through, representing Grambling State the right way, said it all. But of course, got to get the doctor on. I have, of course, the wonderful, the one and only Dr. Rachel Francis. Let me go ahead. And bring the good doctor to the stage. Bring the good doctor to the stage. Doctor,
Hi,
Dr.
everybody.
Rachel, how are you?
I'm doing well and yourself.
You're the second person to ask the host how he's doing today. I appreciate you. I'm doing
Well, thank
good.
you. Well,
I'm
very good.
so Uh, Doctor, we are here to talk about the HBCU experience about Grambling State University. This is the second edition. Before you even get into all the great stuff about Grambling, can you please just tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you got involved?
All right. Well, my name is Rachel, and a lot of people call me Rachel. Yes, I have a doctorate. It is in pharmacy. I am married and have been for about 8 years, and I have two lovely children. And how I got involved, my good sis Avery, she asked me to be a part of it last time, but I had a lot going on, and she asked me again. And I said, you know what? I cannot pass up this opportunity again. So I decided to write my chapter and put my, pen to paper, and here we are.
Lovely, lovely. So, what can you tell us just about your experience at Grambling State? Like, tell us from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. Like, what was your experience like at Grambling State University?
So my experience was life changing. My story starts a little different. I actually started my first encounter with Grambling State University was, of course, going to the university for homecomings whenever my dad would bring myself and my other two siblings. And that was just a feeling like no other. I
Mm.
couldn't believe like the celebrities that would go and the crowd. It was just something, a sight to behold, honestly. And I just liked going to North Louisiana because I'm from Southwest, Louisiana. And that was always a nice little trip. And then, of course, I went to band camp. So, yes, I did play in a band. And that
Okay.
was a week experience. And I was still enamored with Grambling State. And then I went to High Ability, where rising seniors could go and, away from home, which was a plus for me because I lived a very sheltered life. And we were able to
Mm.
get college credit right before we entered our senior year of high school. And then I became a true freshman in the summer of 2005. So my my trajectory was definitely different, but I was very consistent with going to
Right.
Grambling, being a part of the culture, and I'm so glad that I was able to matriculate, graduate, and hopefully I'm able to inspire others, to do the same just thing.
Now you said that your dad would bring you around to the homecomings and just being around the culture. Besides that, was it ever like in your household that you had to go to an HBCU, you had to go to this school, or did your folks leave that choice up to you?
So it's actually quite funny. My mom is an LSU Tiger. My dad is a Grambling
Mm.
State Tiger.
Oh wow.
Of course, yes. So to be honest with you, I'm the baby of the family, and my sister and my brother, they both went to LSU. So naturally, I was going to go as well, and they both played in the band. So we're, a musical
Mm.
family, and I was set to do the same just thing. However, I just couldn't see myself at LSU. I just
Had to
couldn't.
go be
And
different. Had to be
I
different.
did. I'm always different. And everybody knows that by now. I have to march to the beat of my own drum. And my dad was the only one in the family, other than his mother, that went to Grambling State. Back in the day, I was like, you know what? Let me go to Grambling. Let me check it out. Let me honor my dad. And that's what I did. So.
That's dope. That's really dope to hear. What would you say has been the culture? What's the culture like at Grambling State? I asked Miss Iyesha Franklin the same thing. I want to ask you, how would you describe the culture of Grambling State University?
It's very inclusive. No one stands alone. And even if you do, someone is always going to be like, hey, you need anything? We're always there to be a helping hand. I thought that it was so wonderful because everybody's always together. Yeah, we're a small school, but in some aspects, that's really good. Everybody knows everybody. And of course, the motto, the place where everybody is somebody. It's the truth, coming from, a high school where everybody knew me for the most part, but to go to a bigger university, even though it's a small university, you got to know people. And everybody was so nice for the most part. Everybody was so warm. You really felt like a family. You didn't feel like just another number. You didn't feel like just a student. You felt like someone's, daughter, niece, vice versa if you're male, but you just felt a sense of belonging. And to me, that culture, that sense of pride, that sense of being a part of something greater, it's a feeling like no other.
What you said about belonging and family. And I know of me at Bowie State, that's something that the small school, big family. When you walk around and you recognize the person that you pass at the same time every day heading to class, your lunch lady or your lunch people remember you, to your staff and faculty remembering you. That sense of family and community is especially driven within the HBCU community. So I want to ask you, what would you say has been post grad, right? Post grad, you have now left Grambling State University. What's been probably the hardest part about adjusting to post grad life?
So when I left Grambling State, I immediately, well, after I graduated, and then I had to stay the summer to do some courses, and then I went to Florida A&M University, or FAMU. That was kind of a culture shock for me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're the largest HBCU, so I went from a very small HBCU to a large HBCU, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sugarcoat, but I felt lonesome for Grambling. I did. My classmates knew I would wear Grambling paraphernalia on campus. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this girl in Grambling," but it was just that's my home,
Right.
and I always say Grambling is my home. FAMU pretty much solidified me in my career. And I'm grateful for FAMU. Don't get me wrong. I have beautiful friends. My coworkers, some of my colleagues are from FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they gave me my start, but it's something about Grambling. So I would say postgraduate, I felt a sense of I was lonesome. I didn't have that close knit, family. Even though I made a new family with family, as what FAMUans call us, family. But it was an adjustment period, but I'll tell you this, even though I was lonesome, Grambling had more than adequately prepared me to excel at FAMU. And it was like, okay, I'm gonna work a job. I'm gonna work another job and I'm gonna go to school
Right.
because I've seen the material before. Grambling had showed me that material, even though that wasn't my major. I had seen it. So they had more than prepared me to excel anywhere, in my opinion, anywhere that I would have gone. But FAMU was the place for me after I graduated from Grambling.
When you look at your time at Grambling State, right? And I don't know if you've been back now to Grambling since then, but since you've been back, what are some of the things that might have changed, and then what are some of the things that you still see remain the same to this day?
Okay, so for instance, I stayed in one of the honors dorm, Jewett Hall. And it was always a running joke because Jewett is up on a hill. Well, Grambling is built
Mhm.
on a hill, but Jewett sits high on a hill. So
Okay.
it's almost like the running joke of, oh, the girls are in their ivory tower. They're. And so we could kind of look over things. And we were on an other side of the campus. So that hall is still there. Jewett Hall is still there. A lot of the older dorms that were there, like Attucks and Wheatley and let's see, I'm gonna say I don't think Adams was there. Jones was there. All of those have been remodeled. They're
Hmm.
not the same. They're not the low rise. Now they're high rise. With Jewett, we only had communal bathrooms, and we had a roommate, and you had to look at your roommate. You couldn't put anything in between. You had to get along with your roommate. So since I've been back, there's of course newer dorms. The library has changed. We don't have an older library, even though I personally love the library. I like the smell of the library. I know that might be weird, but
Of the
I was
old
just like,
library?
I do. I know that sounds weird, but I just, I guess it was a sense of appreciation. I'm like, wow, my dad might have walked these halls in the library, or someone in my community might have walked, someone might have read this book. I don't know. I just have that feeling of like nostalgia, but
Right.
yeah, that's not there anymore. They have a state of the art new library, you know. The they had the old practice band field where we would just go watch the band perform, on a Monday through Thursday, and you could like hang out with other students. That's no longer there anymore.
Mhm.
The old Dunbar Hall is not there anymore. You have to go to Conrad Hutchinson across campus. So, I mean, it's so good to see the progress, but it's still like, oh, I feel like an old head now. Oh, I remember when this was here. And I said, oh my gosh, am I auntie now? So, yeah.
What would you say? Hmm, what would you say has been that one person or maybe a few people at Grambling State that really contributed the most to your experience at Grambling State?
Okay, so I have a lot of people, but first and foremost, Dr. Hubbard, he got me into the chemistry program, and it was like full speed ahead. He was like, okay, I see your grades from high school. You want
Hmm.
to be a pharmacist. I know you said you only want to be here for 2 years to do your prerequisites and then transfer. He was like, I'm going to try to keep you for 4 years. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. But of course, I stayed. He took me under his wing and he put me on the American Chemical Society track. And he showed me that, hey, if pharmacy is not your, that pharmacy is not my only option. If I wanted to excel in chemistry, that was the place to do it. So he is the motivating force and factor that kept me at Grambling, as well as my
Right.
parents, of course. They were like, oh, I think you want to get a degree. A degree is better than leaving without a degree. I would also like to shout out Rosalind Lewis. We all affectionately know her as Nanny. She gave me my first job in the bookstore. It was Barnes and Noble GSU bookstore. And I was able to meet so many people. I learned responsibility. I learned how to, manage my money. And I was like, man, this is a pretty cool job. It's on campus. I didn't have a vehicle, so
Right.
I didn't have to, drive anywhere. And I was able to actually be on campus, work a campus job, and I felt, like a grown up, even though you are grown, age wise, but it was just a sense of like responsibility. Let's see, other professors like Dr. Burks, let's see, Dr. Ohini, let's see, oh man, Dr. Smiley, I cannot forget Dr. Smiley, Dr. Favors, they're in the honors college. They gave me a sense of books. We were in the first honors FYE freshman year experience class, and we got so many books, from Cornell West, The Earth is Flat, just different books that I still have in my library. And I'm like, y'all, do y'all not realize this is an amazing opportunity that they gave us? They gave us so many books to read and we could discuss them, but we also learned about freshman year experience, the alma mater, the fight zone. And still to this day, Dr. Smiley looks out for me. All of the people look out for me. Dr. Walton, she was our dean, Dr. Duyon. Oh my gosh, it's so many. And she helped me get into CORE. It was the National Institute of Mental Health, Career and Opportunity Research. I know that's a mouthful, but they let us research, and that's what I was doing at Grambling at the time. I was researching, I was going on internships, and that was my bread and butter, research. And I'm just so thankful to all of them. They saw something in me, they gave me a chance, and I'm just forever grateful.
Dr. Rachel, I can tell that you have a lot of love, a lot of passion for Grambling State. And so it all makes sense why you are part of this book. What can you tell us about the book, The HBCU Experience, Grambling State University, the second edition? What can you tell us about it?
Okay, it's going to be fire. Okay. I need all of y'all to go get a book. The ones that that are authors, please buy from them, buy from Amazon. It's going to be our authentic stories. Whenever you read a chapter, you're going to feel like I'm in that person's shoes. And you're going to feel like you're walking alongside them. At least that's what my chapter shows. And I'm pretty sure all the other authors are a moment of time or like they say, a wrinkle in time. And they're just showing you their experience. And it's so much to learn from it. So I think that's what the second edition is going to show. And I don't think you'll be disappointed.
If you had to tell someone about your chapter, what's something that you want them to leave from reading your chapter with? Something that you want them to hold on to when they finish your chapter?
I want them to hold on to family. I want them to hold on to life experiences. And also, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so my start, quote unquote, I was very green. And once I finished, I was like, I'm not so green after all. So be open to life experience it, embrace it, and learn. So that's what I want, people to take from my chapter.
Dr. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Before you leave out of here, can you please tell us where we can find you on social media?
Absolutely. On Instagram, you can find me at Whitley Gilbert Wayne. And you may understand because I have that twang like Whitley Gilbert off of a different world. So again, Instagram, Whitley Gilbert Wayne. And on Facebook at Rachel Francis. And I believe I am still on YouTube with Running It with Reese and Riles. But particularly, you'll find me on Facebook, Rachel Francis.
Dr. Rachel, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Can't wait till the book is out. And again, y'all got to go get that book, The HBCU Experience, Grambling State University, second edition. Dr. Rachel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, man, this has been once again in the Spotlight series right here on HBCU Pulse Radio. I've been your host, MC. And again, make sure when the book comes out, you go get it. The HBCU Experience, Grambling State University, the second edition. Until next time.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.